January 2026. For Russia, this moment does not arrive with drama or urgency. There is no emergency speech from the Kremlin, no raised alert levels broadcast to the public. A silo opens, telemetry systems activate. A missile rises exactly on schedule. Data streams back to command centers. Engineers confirm what they already expected. The RS-28 Sarmat-2 performs within design parameters. The test ends. From Moscow's perspective, the mission is complete. This is not escalation. This is maintenance of strategic balance. Russia does not test intercontinental missiles to send emotional messages. It tests them to confirm that deterrence still works. And in 2026, with arms control frameworks effectively frozen and NATO missile defenses expanding eastward, confirming that reality has become essential. The Sarmat-2 is not a response to one war, one crisis, or one political moment. It is the culmination of a long strategic calculation that began years ago when Russia concluded that the post-Cold War security architecture was no longer stable. Treaties collapsed, assurances eroded, missile defense sites appeared closer to Russian borders. The conclusion in Moscow was simple: deterrence had to be rebuilt, not debated. Sarmat-2 is that rebuild. Unlike many Western systems designed around limited threats or regional contingencies, Sarmat-2 was built for the worst-case scenario. It replaces aging Soviet-era missiles not just with newer hardware, but with a fundamentally different philosophy. Flexibility replaces predictability. Survivability replaces numbers. Uncertainty replaces assumptions. With a throw weight exceeding 10 tons, Sarmat-2 can carry a wide range of payload configurations: traditional, multiple, independently targetable re-entry vehicles, hypersonic glide vehicles, penetration aids, decoys, mixed packages designed to overwhelm detection and interception systems simultaneously. This is not excess capability. This is strategic insurance. From Russia's point of view, missile defense systems do not need to be fully effective to be destabilizing. They only need to create doubt. Sarmat-2 exists to eliminate that doubt. It ensures that no adversary can believe, even briefly, that a first strike could neutralize Russia's response. That belief, or the lack of it, is the foundation of deterrence. One of the most significant elements confirmed during the 2026 test is trajectory freedom. Sarmat-2 is not limited to traditional polar routes that Cold War defenses were built to monitor. It can approach targets from southern vectors, over oceans and regions historically outside NATO's early warning focus. This capability alone forces a complete reassessment of missile defense coverage. From Moscow's perspective, this is not an aggressive feature. It is a logical response. When defenses are positioned with specific expectations in mind, a credible deterrent must violate those expectations. Predictability favors interception. Unpredictability favors stability. The missile's throw weight phase further complicates defense planning. Hypersonic glide vehicles detach at extreme altitudes and speeds, maneuvering unpredictably through the atmosphere. This is not simply about speed, although speeds exceeding Mach 10 leave minimal reaction time. It is about decision compression. Commanders have fewer seconds to assess, classify, and respond. In strategic terms, hesitation equals deterrence. Russia understands that modern conflict is as much psychological as it is physical. That is why the Sarmat-2 test was conducted quietly. No dramatic footage, no countdowns for the public, no threats issued alongside the launch. The message was not aimed at television audiences. It was aimed at analysts, planners, and military staffs, the people who model scenarios and build escalation ladders. Those ladders just lost several rungs. Importantly, Russia does not intend to mass-produce Sarmat-2 in enormous numbers. Strategic deterrence does not require volume, it requires reliability. A limited number of survivable, flexible systems is enough to anchor stability. Moscow's doctrine has never been about numerical dominance, it has been about guaranteed response. That distinction matters. Western discourse often frames new Russian strategic systems as destabilizing. Moscow sees the opposite. From its perspective, instability arises when one side believes it can act without consequence. Sarmat-2 removes that illusion. It restores symmetry, not in numbers, but in risk. The 2026 test also reinforces a broader Russian message. Strategic weapons are not bargaining chips. Sarmat-2 is not leverage for negotiations. It is the baseline reality upon which any future arms control discussion must rest. Russia will not negotiate from a position of assumed vulnerability. It will negotiate from confirmed capability. That approach may be uncomfortable for NATO, but it is consistent. Another key element highlighted by the test is survivability. Sarmat-2 is deployed in hardened silos designed to withstand extreme overpressure. Mobility is not its role, resilience is. Combined with early warning redundancy and automated command and control systems, the missile ensures retaliation even under worst-case conditions. This is not about winning a nuclear war, it is about making one unthinkable. From Moscow's point of view, missile defense systems reduce the likelihood of escalation in conventional conflicts as well. When strategic balance is firm, regional confrontations are less likely to spiral uncontrollably. The Sarmat-2 test therefore stabilizes not just the nuclear domain, but the broader security environment. That is the logic Russia operates under. The test also sends an internal message. To Russian engineers, scientists, and military planners, it confirms that domestic industrial capacity remains capable of producing world-class strategic systems despite sanctions, pressure, and isolation. Sarmat-2 is not a paper project, it is operational reality. To Russian leadership, it confirms continuity. No matter who sits in foreign capitals, no matter how alliances shift, Russia's core deterrent remains under its own control. That continuity is central to Moscow's long-term worldview. For NATO, the implications are sobering. Existing missile defense systems, Patriot, Aegis Ashore, even THAAD in limited numbers, were never designed to counter a system like Sarmat-2 in a full-spectrum scenario. They may intercept individual threats, they may provide limited coverage, but they do not negate deterrence. Russia knows this. That is why it feels no need to threaten Europe with Sarmat-2. The system's existence speaks for itself. The January 2026 test closes a chapter that began when the Cold War ended and uncertainty took its place. Russia has completed the modernization of its strategic forces. The deterrent is updated. The assumptions of the past no longer apply. This is not about fear. This is not about escalation. This is about permanence. Sarmat-2 ensures that no future conflict, no matter how tense, begins with the illusion of a decisive first move. It anchors a reality where restraint is rational and miscalculation is costly. From Moscow's perspective, that is stability. The missile does not need to fly again to deliver its message. It already has. If you want calm Russia angle analysis of the weapons and doctrines shaping global power, without hype, without panic, and without Western framing, subscribe to NeuroIntelE. We explain what states actually build and why. New analysis every single day.